Well, today is World Mental Health Day. I don't know the theme. I think it's mental health in a time of COVID is the theme of everything now, and I think that some people are cracking up for the first time, but that it's been a long time coming. And I myself live with crippling mental illness, and I've been on lithium for 14 years, like this month. And you know, mental illness runs in my family, I'll say that. And you know, the question about what causes mental illness, because there are underlying causes, but there aren't cures. And mental illness runs in my family, but so does shitty parenting. And I think that a large percentage of mental illness could be prevented if we treated each other differently. And I'm not just talking about telling a crying child that you will give them something to cry about. I mean, we can do that in our own families, destroy our children with this fucking abuse. But I mean societally too, because you see mental illness is so much higher in at-risk populations. And right now, I have no health insurance, and my doctor of 14 years is basically seeing me on scale. He's doing me a charity because I'm fascinating. And we're not calling it that, but if a number of other factors had not lined up, like if I hadn't lived in the same town so long, he wouldn't just be seeing me. I wouldn't have any care at all. So, mental illness is something dear to my heart, if you will. Like I said, there are causes. There's not really cures. And so, how are we going to treat each other? How are we going to treat people who are mentally ill? Because it has other costs. You know, as someone who's bipolar, I have somewhere between a 9 and 19% chance of committing suicide. You throw in a comorbidity of alcohol use disorder, now you're talking almost 40 to 50% of people with bipolar who are also alcoholic end up topping themselves. It's kind of a dark concept, but I don't necessarily walk around this city talking to birds because it's like a rewarding lifestyle. It's just there's 1,000 ways to die at my house, and I can't be there all the time, and I'm not working. So right now, I'm fortunate enough that I met some people last week playing music who invited me to play with them again this week. And I say fortunate because they're all combat veterans, and I'm not. So I feel fortunate that they've invited me to be with them. And it's again because I'm lucky here, because I was made to take music lessons as part of my middle class privilege, that I have something to offer. And so I'm gonna go make some new friends with other people who suffer terrible trauma. And I suspect that in the absence of the draft, that many people who choose combat, who choose to be in the military during a time of endless war, may have underlying things going on with them that would make them choose that. Some sense of unworthiness or some level of PTSD that makes you feel normal in turmoil, or even some lack of sense of self that belonging to an organization will give you at least a place to plug your humanity in. At any rate, I'm not going to play music with these folks to talk about the past. I'm going there to believe that there is a future. Because right now I don't really feel it. I would rather just kind of rot at home. But that's no way to get better, so I'm cashing in on my fortunate circumstances that, you know, despite being racked with mental illness, I'm lucky to be lovable enough that my doctor's being charitable and that I get invited to play music with combat veterans. So think of that today, World Mental Health Day. And for all my ramblings, the takeaway is this: a lot of bad mental health outcomes, a lot of the cause of mental health is how we treat each other. It's how we treat children. It's how societally we deal with inequity, with poverty, with how we treat bullying, with how we treat the strong and the weak, and how we reward and blame people for things that are out of their control or never were in their control. So here's World Mental Health Day.